Hi, my name is Lulu, and I am into a lot of different fandoms. I like anime, I like reading sci-fi fantasy, I like all kinds of nerdy stuff, and more than that, I like to talk about it. I also like to craft. So for the next little while, sit back, hang out, and craft along with me while I go over whatever it is that I'm currently into. Hello everyone, welcome once again, and thank you for joining me for this week's Craft and Chat. As usual, I'm going to start with going over what I'm working on. I am working on a cowl designed by Inked Empress Fiber Arts, and the yarn is the Stoker colorway and the footsie fingering weight dyed by Voolenvine Yarns. As usual, you'll find links to both of them in the notes below. And you guys kind of seen the progress. So that's really all I have to say about the knitting for this week. Outside of the project itself is a lot of fun still. I think we're about halfway done with it now. So yeah, hopefully soon we'll have that speed knit of seeing the shawl progress from beginning to end. A cowl. I keep saying that. It's not a shawl. It's a cowl. Cowl. Anyway. That's it for the fiber stuff. However, I did want to do a little public service announcement before I go into the content of this week. Last week, I mentioned that I was going to do a series of Harry Potter videos. That I knew there was some drama with JK Rowling, but that I was distancing the author from the books, and I was going to focus just on the literary topics that I feel very passionate about. Unfortunately, I can't do that anymore. When I made my video last week, I knew about the two tweets that kind of started this wave of drama. And when reading them completely out of context, it's like, okay, she's got her terminology wrong. She is a little bit older. She might not know the difference between sex and gender, and she might just be a little bit too vocal for her own good, considering the tremendous age gap between her and people who are reading her books still for the first time, for multiple times, up until, my generation, which I consider, my group to kind of be we grew up with Harry Potter people. Like, there's 2, 3, maybe even 4 generations of kids now. So it's like, you know what? I don't agree with her. I can kind of see where she's coming from, though, but I don't agree with her. So I'm just going to distance it. Then I found out more about the article that she was responding to, which was a very inclusive article using gender-neutral terminology, specifically to include all people who menstruate. And there was really no need for the original tweet. And then she came out with the essay. And in this essay, she announces that she has been researching transgender issues, rights, situations, problems, struggles, all of that for several years now for this book series that she's writing, supposedly because the main character in the book series is young enough to need to know about these politics. So she knows the difference between sex and gender, and she knows what she's saying, and she knows what she means. And she is still choosing to use language that doesn't really affect her, but does affect people that she claims to care about and love. And because of that, I can't distance myself between the author and the books right now. Not during Pride Month. With everything going on right, guys, really? This is when she's gonna... No. I may in the future return to my Harry Potter videos. There is still a lot that I love about the books, a lot that I love about the world, and there are still episodes I would really like to talk about, but right now is just not the time. But there was a planned video for this week, and since I'm not going to be doing that video, what I will be doing this week is I am going to be giving a shout out for a lot of comics, webtoons as well, that I personally follow that are a little bit or a lot of bit more pride friendly, as this is Pride Month, more LGBTQ plus friendly. And so without too much more lag, I'm going to go straight into that. The first one I want to talk about is from Webtoon. So you would have to download the app Webtoon, which is free. And the comics are mostly free. Like, you can read all the way up to update, but then there are like 2 or 3 episodes that you can sometimes buy coins and spend coins to get the latest updates early, or you can just continue waiting for them to be unlocked. And the first one I'm going to talk about is called Serious Trans Vibes. It's written and I believe drawn and written by Sophie Labelle, who is a French-Canadian author. She has also written a few children's books, and I know she used to, I don't know if she still does or not, but goes around and makes speeches and advocates, and so she does a lot for the community. And her comic follows the adventures of Steffi and Seal, 2 queer and transgender teenagers, as they find pride and empowerment in their daily lives. I've only read up to a certain point. It's a continuous comic for me right now, so I can't say anything about the latest comics because I haven't gotten there. But it starts out very informative. I feel like, disclaimer, I am cis. So I can only talk from how I feel. So I would love to hear anybody else's thoughts on any of these comics that I mentioned. But for me, the first few comics of Serious Trans Vibes were very informative. They kind of helped me go, why haven't I been looking at it from this viewpoint all along? A little while later, it gets just more into the characters. Like where I am right now, the characters are kind of frustrated a lot, which is understandable. But yeah. So you're going to see a bit of a range in the different characters and information and just what you will be exposed to by reading this comic series. The next one that I wanted to get into is AJ and Magnus, which is written and designed by Brian and Simon Steele. This comic gives off a very Calvin and Hobbes kind of a feel to it, which I really love. You know, your old, it's kind of like the Sunday morning comic vibes. And the disclaimer or the description in it is a boy and his dog, his 2 dads, and their adventures through life. And again, they cover a lot of issues. The focus is more towards homosexuality and being gay than it is transgender specific. But as this is Pride Month, I'm going over just a wider range of comics. And it's a very wholesome comic that also isn't afraid to shy away from the issues inside the world that these 2 men are creating. And it's very sweet. I love it a lot. But speaking of sweet, the next one I want to talk about is called Exception, which is by Colorway. They are from the Netherlands. And the description of this comic is, with his rainbow hair and love for fashion, Arceus is anything but your average teenager. He's upbeat an independent thinker, proud fashionista, and he likes, like the rest of us, is just looking for a few friends. It may be our sister's story, but it's all our stories too, and it is for anyone who's ever struggled to fit in, find love, or thought that high school was pretty much the worst. So the description kind of covers most of what I wanted to say about it, but it's a cute little high school comic about this. I mean, he's a guy with rainbow hair, and he's kind of trying to make it through life, and he's just exploring his world. He's got his own set of problems. He's trying to make friends, and through him you meet a whole cast of different people with, you know, struggles and exploration of their own, and I'm really enjoying it. It's in season 2, but going a little bit away from the wholesome vibe here. These next 2 comics are not really safe for work. One more so than the other. The first one is Go Get a Roomie by, I think I'm pronouncing this right, Chlove, Chlove. And the description is, this follows the adventures of an upbeat hippie living her life in love and joy and beer and sex. You'll get to meet her various other friends, all as lovely and bonkers as she is. And, you know, like the others, you're going to meet all kinds of characters. You're going to meet some characters who are transgender individuals. You're going to meet some characters who are straight, who are gay, who are bisexual. You're going to meet some characters. I know of at least one who I'm pretty sure is actually ace, or pretty close to it, which I know we don't always see a lot of representation for. And it's a comic that starts off really light and fluffy almost, very carefree. The main character is drinking at her favorite bar, and on her way to wherever, she stumbles across the doorstep of this other character named Lillian, and their lives are just never the same after that. It's been going on for a while, and it is a wonderful read through. It's actually coming to an end here soon. Now this next one, 2 disclaimers. One is there is a what I call a slog. The first several hundred, I almost want to say, comics like this webcomic has been around for a while, and it starts out like, why would you even suggest this comic? This is a very obviously a comic about a heterosexual male trying to bang a girl with a really, really sexist robot companion. Like, what is this? But the beauty is this comic grows. It grows so much. And you could even probably, like, gauging by the art style, skip to closer towards the better art. And as the art gets better, the plot and the stories and the characters get better. And at this point in the story, it isn't just about a heterosexual male trying to bang a lady he meets in a bar. And I love seeing him grow as a character, and honestly, everybody grows. For a webcomic that started out very almost episodic, it's now a lot about learning and growing. And the other disclaimer I wanted to say about it, though, it's questionablecontent.net, N-E-T, not .com, not .org. Be very careful. Please don't search for this webcomic while you are at work. Questionablecontent.net. And the creator is Jeff Jacques. And the description just says an internet comic strip about romance and robots. But at this point, it is so much more than that. And a little bit coming down from the not safe for workness into more of a normal space where you could reasonably, probably, most likely, I think you can read all of these all of the comics in this next one without being worried about the wrong person looking over your shoulder for the most part. I mean, there is a chick that turns into a squirrel. I don't know if you're about that or not. But it's called El Shive by Dan Shive. Again, been around a long time. And the art has grown by leaps and bounds. And it starts off much more magic adventure, and now it's a little bit less magic and adventure, but there's still magic and there's still adventure. It's just also more about the characters exploring themselves. But the concept of gender being more of a construct than anything else, and a lot of the characters just have the ability to change gender, change just how they view the world. And this one, I would say, is, at this point, it is mostly about the characters exploring who they are for themselves. And that's something I really like about it. But the description is a strange comic about a group of teenagers and the bizarre, often supernatural situations that they face. Now, everything I've mentioned before has been on my list specifically because it, for one reason or another, is LGBTQ plus friendly or focused. But these next two are more along the lines of, if you have that itch for a magic story, but you're like me and right now it's not going to be Harry Potter, these next two comics might actually be a big help for you. The first one is called Hooky, Hooky, also on Webtoon. It is by Miriam Bonasterter. Probably butchered that. I'm so sorry, Miriam. The description is, Danny and Dorian have missed the bus of the School of Magic. Now they must find someone to teach them how to be great witches, or maybe not. I don't know if you could tell by the name or not, but English is not the first language of the creator. And because of that, the way a lot of the language is translated into English creates a very unique writing style that at first threw me off, but I ended up finding extremely endearing and I loved a lot. The second one is called Crumbs by artist Witherling, and the description is, in a very special town, there's a very unusual bakery where the house specialty is a selection of baked treats handcrafted to help you make your dreams come true. For Ray, a quiet young woman with special powers of her own, the order is always the same: hot tea with a delicious side of romance. This one is just a what if magic is known in the world, and almost everybody can do some kind of magic, and you don't get your first car, you get your first broom type of a thing. And I don't know, it's also very wholesome, very pure, and I just love it. So those are some of my suggestions for things that you can view if you want that entertainment itch. I'm assuming maybe some of you are reading some of those. I don't know if there's anyone that's probably reading all of them or not. But either way, if I piqued your interest or if you have been reading one, please drop a line. Let me know. What did you think of my reviews compared to how you feel about the series? What do you think about the series themselves? And as always, if there is anything else that you would like me specifically to talk about in the future, a fandom or story or something that you just really enjoy, let me know and it might become a video. But for now, I think we are about done for the week. I hope you've all had a good time and have a wonderful rest of the week. Please stay safe as you can. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.